Federal government set to introduce labor statistics system to tackle unemployment. Nigerian custom intercept cannabis worth 560 million naira in Lagos. Plus, Gambia's Vice President Badara Jove dies in India. Hello, this is News Live on Via Television. I am Deborah Ndukaife. Following opposition to restructuring of the 23.7 trillion naira Ways and Means facility advanced to the federal government by the Central Bank of Nigeria in the last 10 years, the Senate has directed the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, and Governor of the Apex Bank, Godwin Emefiele, to furnish its special committee with details within 3 days. The Allow Chamber, which witnessed a rowdy session over the request last December, warned that in view of next month's presidential and National Assembly elections, it will be forced to adjourn plenary this week or next Tuesday at the most to participate in the campaigns. The warning followed a motion by its leader and chairman of the special panel raised to interface with the minister and CBN governor on the dedicated credit, Senator Ibrahim Gobiru. Citing Order 40 of the Senate Standing Rules, the chairman informed the chamber that several attempts by the committee since December 2022 have an audience with the two officials had been unsuccessful. Now, the House of Representatives had attempted to amend the National Youth Service Corps Act. Areas of the amendment included an upward review of the enumeration for corps members, making it optional for people to attend the service, as well as making provisions for students schooling outside the country. The bill, however, suffered setbacks as most lawmakers who spoke during the debate presented different conflicting views on the proposed law. Let's take a look at the report.
The bill was to review upward the accommodation and transport allowances for corps members in line with current economic realities and for related matters. Leading the debate on the amendment, Honorable Ben Ikbagba stated that the amendment bill seeks, among other things, to provide a cure for the unrealistic allowances given to youth corps members as remuneration. The lawmaker also stated that the process of acquiring exemption certificates in view of the age limit should be optional and less cumbersome.
A lot of our youth now seek to look at the NYC as a waste of time because it is not giving them, one, the cultural integration that is supposed to harness is not there. Then the technical know-how of the work. You see medical doctors now serving in accountant's office. Then two, Section 2, subsection 1 of the Act says shall, Mr. Speaker. I don't know if with the agreement of our people, I don't know if we can change it to may, so that it becomes a little optional for people that want to serve.
Some lawmakers in their contributions presented different conflicting views on the proposed amendment. While some supported the amendment as stated, others disagreed with the view to make the exemption certificate optional, stressing that making it compulsory will help youths to experience the realities of life in other regions of the country.
Graduate is a graduate. The assumption is you graduated, you have nothing doing for a living. This time around, you are starting with a peanut, despite it's a 30,000 naira, and he's proposing now it should be in consonant with the minimum wage of at least level 8 as a graduate. With the improvement of that, people will be anxious to go for NYS, and that is going to give them a starting point for them to face the realities of life. So I totally disagree the issue of making NYSC optional. It has to be a compulsory, it's a service to the nation. It happens everywhere in the country, including advanced countries of the world, and it should be in Nigeria too. Thank you, sir.
The exemption certificate should not be optional, it should be compulsory. It should be compulsory so that nobody can say that he is over 30 and therefore he cannot be, it's optional for him. Once you are over 30 or you are below 30, it should be compulsory that you should be given an exemption certificate.
Discriminatory by age. If you attain a certain age, you are not entitled. But if it's optional, I think it's in line with the Constitution, Section 42. Section 42 gives every person the opportunity not being discriminated because you are age, maybe you started school very late. It's not your fault. It might be an economic problem.
For example, people who study in East will not know what is happening in northern Nigeria. But if we are able to go to North, they'll be able to see that what they are telling us, what they are reading about them, some of them are not true. But during the service, they'll be able to know, for example, about the culture and about the food they eat. But if they don't allow them to do it, I believe the division will still be there.
This is coming from the ruling class and those who have the economy, who think they are above service to their community. They will be here in the country after graduation, refuse to go for service, and then come back to say they want to have national appointment. I think those laws should be protected. And it's only when you do that, that you will create a level field ground for those who are voting us, who don't have the opportunity to sponsor their children to go abroad.
The Speaker of the House therefore called for caution in the amendment so that it doesn't affect the aim of the service scheme.
By the leave of the House, and Mr. Speaker, I want to step it down so that we can work further on it for more consultation.
Stepping down a bill is not an unusual thing. One option is to step it down if every co-sponsor is agreed on that. The second option is to pass the bill, but the problem is, now, is this going to the Constitutional Review Committee? Yes. Is this meant to come to the Constitutional Review Committee? No. So let us step it down. Let us err on the side of caution. Let us err on the side of caution. Bill, step down.
It is expected that the sponsors of the amendment seek further clarification on some aspects of the proposed bill, as they can only be amended through the constitutional amendment process.
Election stakeholders have tasked Nigerians to actively participate in the upcoming general elections and to work towards ensuring an election devoid of violence. They made this known in Nigeria's capital, Abuja, during a voter sensitization campaign program organized for youths on the need to understand what role they can play to ensure a peaceful election, while urging them to get their permanent voters card and ready to vote during the election. They should vote for credible leaders.
But of course, voting involves queuing. You have to queue in the lines and be patient. And all of us have to be patient to exercise our rights, because the leaders we are electing will be in office for the next 4 or 5 years and will preside over our destiny. So therefore, all of us really need to be patient. It's not a quick process, and I can understand that in Nigeria it will be much more tedious, much more patience needed because of the size of your population.
Nigerian youth have the largest percentage of voters. Their participation will mean a lot and could decide the winner in this election. This is the reason we are leaving no stone unturned to ensure that they understand the power they have and use it to the interest of the country. We want to make sure that the news of positive change is not only going to be heard, but actively and generously implemented in all tiers and arms of government nationwide.
One of the things voter education seeks to achieve is peaceful elections, and that is trying to speak to the people to ensure that they understand the need to avoid violence, speak to the youths to rather be more productive in terms of doing the right things and ensure that everything is done within a relatively peaceful environment.
Now the federal government is set to introduce a labor statistics system where unemployed Nigerians at home and abroad can apply for jobs in Nigeria. The Minister of Labor and Employment, Chris Ngige, told a news conference in Abuja that the move was part of the government's effort to tackle the high rate of unemployment in the country. The minister assured that the labor statistics would be available in 2 months. Ngige recalled that the Ministry earlier established a labor exchange system for merging and cross-matching labor supply and demand in Nigeria. He said the ministry had been involved in some international projects and partnerships, adding that the American government was putting up a grant for women and children in Nigeria and Liberia. The Customs Strike Force Team A Ikeja has says it intercepted 5,124 kilograms of cannabis sativa along the coast of Lekki, Lagos. The custom controller in charge of the team, Sani Yusuf, while addressing journalists at the command, said the contraband, with an estimated duty-paid value of 516 million, was intercepted following a credible intelligence in January 2023. He added that the contrabands were being moved directly from the ship to trucks before his men intercepted them. And Yusuf said they were able to control or to track one truck because it has been already loaded, parked outside, and was waiting to be taken out before his men busted them. When News Live returns, all supporters group have declared free transport to and fro from the venue of the presidential campaign rally of Peter Obi and Dati Ahmed of the Labour Party in Kaduna City. Details of this and more comes to you after the break.
Good morning, gentlemen. I'm at the Envoy Hotel, Diplomatic Drive 305, here for a business weekend. It's been an amazing stay. Conference hall and business facilities here are stylish and innovative. The Envoy Hotel is luxury, esoteric, opulence, for ultimate comfort.
Discerning travelers, we are more than just a place to stay. We are an icon of comfort, style, and thoughtful luxury. We are Envoy Hotel.
Two souls came together. Came together. Two souls came together. There I might
Tat Fragrance, the new luxury fragrance for men and women.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is News Live, a recap of our top stories. Federal government set to introduce labor statistics system to tackle unemployment. Nigerian customs intercept cannabis worth 516 million naira in Lagos. Plus, Gambia's Vice President Badara Jove dies in India. Nigeria plans to increase primary school enrollment from the current 46% to 90% by 2030. The country also plans to double the enrollment of females in schools and ensure a secondary school education completion rate from 42% to 80% by 2030. The disclosures were made in Benin by Yoshola Akimbi, National Coordinator of the Human Capital Development (HCD) project of the National Economic Council. Speaking at the opening of a two-day South-South Regional Conference on Human Capital Development, Akimbi said the project had been positioned to promote an inclusive and functional education system. She said it was all poised to promote equitable access to affordable and quality healthcare for every Nigerian. The Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, and his counterpart in the Women Affairs Ministry, Pauline Tallinn, have expressed concerns over the rising cases of sexual and gender-based violence across the country. And Malami and Tallinn noted that although the federal government has evolved the measures to curb the crime, the challenge was how to enhance the capacity of the judiciary to exercise, improve access to justice for victims, and ensure swift prosecution of the perpetrators. They appealed for the support of all stakeholders, particularly the judiciary, to urgently address the alarming trend. Malami, with who he co-chairs the Presidential Interministerial Gender-Based Violence Management Committee with Mrs. Tallinn, identified the various initiatives put in place by the federal government to address the challenge. All supporter groups have declared free transport to and fro from the venue of the presidential campaign rally of Peter Obi and Dati Ahmed of the Labour Party in Kaduna City. As early as 8 a.m., commercial buses were hired by the groups and stationed in strategic areas of the Crocodile City, moving supporters and admirers of Obi Dati to Amadou Bello Stadium, the venue of the presidential rally. Our correspondent observed that large numbers of canopies were mounted at the main bowl of the stadium, forcing the crowd to avoid the normal spectator seats in the over 25,000 seating capacity stadium. However, at the time of filing this report, Peter Obi and members of his campaign team were being awaited by the crowd at the stadium. Borno women have been advised to unite in order to reduce the gap in the ratio of women to men in the political arena of the state in the 2023 elections. And our analyst says the participation of women in politics has strongly declined in Borno State due to cultural norms and religious sentiments. Beatrice Kritsi takes a look at the chances of women that could be elected into political offices in this year's election. The reports.
Nigeria is the most populous nation in Africa, with a population of over 200 million, with women constituting 49.95% of the number. In the political space, women comprise almost half of the electorate. According to the United Nations, the national average of women's political participation in Nigeria remains at 6.7% in elective and appointive positions, which is far below the global average of 22.5% target. Borno State has over the years experienced poor representation of women in both elective and appointive positions at the local government, State House of Assembly, as well as in ministries, departments, and agencies of government. In the 2023 elections, 16 women are contesting for political offices in the state, but some residents fear that they may not win. Most of the women politicians are not popular like the few ones we have. For you to be well accepted, you have to be the giving type. Empower people like giving them employment and others.
Da akwai wata matan da ana kiranta Inna Galadima. Ita ma ta dan fito amma yanzu ta koma baya. An danna ta. Na haka maza su suke danna mata a Borno.
It's difficult for women to get political positions because the men are politics players. But who knows, maybe when the present governor completes his government, he might hand over to a woman.
Baki mace ta zama shugaba a jihar Borno ba, kuma zai yi ta zama. Amma a bari yanzu.
We are not denying women the right to become a governor or hold any political office, but at the moment, the time has not yet come. They should exercise patience till we finish enjoying this government. The poor representation and participation of women in politics, according to some analysts, is due to cultural norms and religious doctrines, as well as male domination in the process.
But the problem is they are dependent on the status and positions of their husband. Those that are independent, number one, in terms of finance, number two, in terms of cover up, number three, outward and physical assertion of themselves and their authorities.
The case of Binani Dahiru in Adamawa State is a very good case study, though there are some internal issues that her chances of winning is very, very slim. Why? Because I said women, we are the architect of our problem. We have the syndrome of pull her down. We don't celebrate fellow women like us. We have to give women chance. When we say we're talking about gender equality, we are not saying we want to be equal with the men. We are only talking about that we have the potentials, that we should be allowed to display our potentials. And this question of godfatherism in politics is very high, and it's very, very disadvantageous to women. By the time you want to have a male person to be your godfather, it's going to read a different meaning.
And then what they need to do is they should just get out from their own shield of emotional attachments. If you wanted to be politicians, they have to be pragmatists. They have to be pragmatic in persuasion. They have to be pragmatic because people will not allow them to get what they want until when they put in their weight completely. Discarding the value-laden identity of our culture will not defy our cultural norms and values. Rather, we are going out there in order to speak on behalf of our fellow women.
As the elections draw closer, Nigerians are waiting to see if the 35% recommended by the United Nations for women inclusion in political positions, power, and decision-making will be a reality in Borno State.
Caleb Muthwang, a PDP candidate for governor in Plateau State, paid a courtesy visit to the NUJ Secretariat in Jos. Caleb and his delegation asked journalists to work with PDP, claiming that the group has what it takes to give the Plateau people the leadership they deserve. Our correspondent, Nasir Saidu, was there. Take a listen.
In order to strengthen their collaboration in projecting the party in advance of the 2023 elections, Barrister Caleb Muthwang, a PDP candidate for governor in Plateau State, is in town with other party stakeholders. They are paying the Plateau State chapter of the Nigerian Union of Journalists a courtesy visit.
And we have always regarded the NUJ as a friend. We have always regarded the NUJ as a partner in our march towards ensuring that Plateau people get a good deal come 2023. We will be starting our campaigns formally, where we'll embark on a tour of the local governments, starting with our rallies in the 3 senatorial zones. And we count on the NUJ, we count on the media practitioners to partner with us in selling our plans and programs to the people of Plateau. We are persuaded that we have the message that Plateau people need to hear.
Muthwang assures Plateau people of his commitment in giving the mandate.
We are coming on board to offer Plateau people credible leadership. Leadership is very key to progress in society. We are offering ourselves for the people of Plateau to consider and accept us, to give us the opportunity to be able to lead from the front. We intend, by the grace of God, that will confront the challenges of Plateau State within the context of Nigeria with boldness, with clarity, and that we will be able to bring in best global practices to bear on our local situation.
This visit by PDP governorship candidate to NUJ hopes to strengthen the partnership ahead of the 2023 general elections. Nasr Seidu, VOA TV News, Jos.
You're still watching News Live on VOA Television. Business, international, and entertainment news comes to you right after the break. Just stay tuned. And on business, the Debt Management Office, DMO, has announced plans to raise up to 1.2 trillion naira through FGN bonds in the first quarter of the year 2023. The DMO disclosed this in its FGN bonds issuance calendar for Q1 2023. Among other things, the calendar shows that the DMO will sell between 320 billion naira and 400 billion naira worth of FGN bonds in each of the 3 months in Q1 of 2023. The FGN bonds come in for the different maturities and interest rate, namely 13.98% FGN February 2028, 12.50% FGN April 2032, and 2,499% FGN April 2037. The DMO also disclosed that the FGN bond auctions will be held on January 30th, February 13th, and March 20th, 2023. The 1.2 trillion naira to be raised through FGN bonds in Q1 23 represents 13.6% of the 8.8 trillion naira 2023 budget deficits. The Nigeria's Governors Forum has invited Central Bank of Nigeria's Governor Godwin Emefiele to a virtual meeting on Thursday on the recent CBN policy of redesigning the Naira notes. In a statement issued by the head of Media and Public Affairs of NGF Secretariat, Abdulrazak Bello Bakindo, the invitation, which was sent out by the chairman of the Nigeria's Governors Forum and the governor of Sokoto State, Aminu Tambuwal, is for the 19th of January. Emefiele had announced the initial decision of the bank to redesign the Naira note on October 26, 2022, the bank urging Nigerians not to wait until January 31st, 2023 to get the new notes. Now, Federation Accounts Allocation Committee has shared a total sum of 990.189 billion naira, that's December 2022 revenue, to the Federal, State and Local Government Council. Now, the figure represents an increase of 88.136 billion naira compared to the 902.053 billion naira shared in November. FAC, in a communique issued at the end of its meeting in the Abuja, said the 990.189 billion naira total distributable revenue comprised statutory revenue of 707 billion naira, value-added tax of 233.277 billion naira, exchange gain of 24 billion naira, and 315 billion naira from electronic money transfer levies. FAC said the federal government received a 375 billion naira, states received 299 billion naira, while the local governments got 221 billion naira. It added that oil producing states received 93 billion naira as derivation in the same month. The federal government said it sometimes borrows funds to buy petrol as the country continues to incur rising fuel subsidy bills. The government also confirmed that there was also a possibility of global economic recession this year, but stressed that the Nigeria's foreign exchange reserves were healthy enough to withstand the shocks. And the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, disclosed this on the sidelines of the World Economic Forum in Davos. While speaking during an interview with the newsman, Ahmed states that the federal government at some point had to borrow funds to buy premium motor spirit, popularly called petrol, despite the huge subsidy spending on the commodity. She insisted on ending the fuel subsidy regime, while adding that would be done gradually from the second quarter of this year by the current government. And on international, the Vice President of Gambia, Badara Jove, is dead. Now, Jove died after a brief illness, according to a tweet by the President of the Gambia, Adama Barrow. Before assuming the position of Vice President, Jove previously served as Minister of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology from 2017 to 2022. The Gambia is the smallest country within mainland Africa and is surrounded by Senegal except for its western coast on the Atlantic Ocean. And the West African country gained independence from the British in 1965 under the leadership of Dawda Jawara, who ruled until Yahya Jammeh seized power in a bloodless 1994 coup. President Barrow became the Gambia's top president in January 2017, and on 4th December 2021, he was re-elected for a second tenure alongside Badara Jove as his vice. A helicopter crash near a kindergarten in the Kyiv region has killed at least 14 people, including the leadership team of Ukraine's Interior Ministry, who were traveling on the aircraft, according to officials. Now, further 25 people, including 11 children, were injured following the incident in the city of Brovary, according to the State Emergency Service of Ukraine. The emergency service has revised down the number of people killed in the crash on the outskirts of Ukraine's capital. The previous death toll was 18. According to updated information, 14 bodies were found at the crash site, including one child and all 9 people who were on board of the helicopter, 6 ministry officials and 3 crew members. Search and rescue operations have ended at the crash site, the SAS said. Jury selection kicked off in San Francisco federal court in a case brought by Tesla shareholders who claim tweets by Elon Musk amounted to fraud. The main focus, a 2018 tweet from Musk reading, I'm considering taking Tesla's private at $420. Funding secured shareholders have said Musk's tweets cost investors billions. The lawsuits seek unspecified damages for shareholders who bought or sold Tesla stock in the day after Musk's tweets on August 7, 2018. Professor of Law at UC Berkeley, Robert Bartlett, says the case is unique and the defendant, who also included 7 current and former Tesla's directors, have denied wrongdoings. And on entertainment, award-winning Whiskey Mistress dancer Peter Martina said she is putting in a lot of effort to create one of the biggest and most exciting dance studios in Abuja and the rest of the nation over time. Martina urges young ladies to make use of the entertainment business in Nigeria to realize their potential, noting that women should not consider men as their provider. In her words, you must be determined, focused, and industrious. Martina says she's working on creating a major dance studio in Abuja where people can learn the art of dance. She added that it is going to be both for the young and for the old. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 is an upcoming American action spy film written, produced, and directed by Christopher McQuarrie. It is sequel to Mission Impossible Fallout 2018 and is the 7th installment in the Mission Impossible film series. The film stars Tom Cruise, Ving Rhames, Simon Pegg, and other top actors. Take a look at the trailers.
Your days of fighting for the so-called greater good are over. This is our chance to control the truth, the concepts of right and wrong for everyone for centuries to come. You're fighting to save an ideal that doesn't exist. Never did. You need to pick a side.
Davido and Thames have officially been confirmed to be performing at the 2023 The Governor's Ball in New York, USA. Governor's Ball Music Festival 2023 is an annual music festival held in New York City, USA. They will perform at the Governor's Ball event, which will take place from June 9th to 11th at Randall's Island in New York City, USA, along with a host of other global and international stars. Now, the American singer Madonna has been charged for smuggling kids from Malawi and using them as subjects for social experiments. The Grammy-winning artist has a special place in her heart for the African nation, and she even founded a charity called Raising Malawi. Madonna has made numerous trips to the nation and has adopted 4 kids, including the well-known David Bender, who she brought home in 2008. The award-winning singer has been accused of having hidden agendas when adopting children from Malawi. And that's all on News Live, but before we go, a recap of the headlines. The federal government set to introduce labor statistics system to tackle unemployment. Nigerian customs intercept cannabis worth 516 million naira in Lagos. Plus, Gambia's Vice President Badara Jove dies in India. Many thanks for watching. I am Deborah Ndukaifi. Please stay tuned and enjoy the rest of our programs.